one side, we have the king of the Saiyans himself, Goku, and on the other, the legendary Shadow Monarch, Jinwoo. Today, we're tossing out the bias and the nostalgia to look purely at the source material and stats. We're going to see who is actually more powerful.
But before we dive deep into the details, what do you guys think? Will Goku's universe-shaking power take the crown, or does Jinwoo's infinite army and stamina give him the edge? Drop your bets in the comments right now, because the final answer, it's honestly going to shock you.
Round 1, Saiyan vs. Shadow Monarch, a clash of eras.
Round 2, raw strength and power. Let's look at their cosmic destructive force.
You know, when we try to measure their raw power, standard metrics just kind of fly out the window. They really represent two totally different eras of anime. Goku is your classic, hard-working martial arts master, while Jinwoo is a modern, system-based hunter. I mean, Goku has literally faced universe-level threats. Even in the early arcs of Dragon Ball Super, he fought the god of destruction, Beerus, and the shockwaves alone were tearing the universe apart. On the flip side, Jinwoo's power relies on an infinite growth system. He doesn't just train, he literally boosts his stats endlessly like a video game character, meaning he has no actual ceiling. Let's take a closer look at Goku's arsenal. Since that Beerus fight, his power has just skyrocketed exponentially. Super Saiyan Blue multiplies his god-level base by 50, and then you add true Ultra Instinct on top of that, where his body just reacts on pure instinct. The craziest part? Goku is almost always suppressing his true strength so he doesn't accidentally vaporize the planet he's standing on. His multiversal power ceiling is genuinely astronomical. But hey, do not underestimate the Shadow Monarch. Jinwoo literally possesses the original Shadow Monarch's black heart, which grants him infinite stamina and mana reserves. According to the lore, this guy fought continuously, without resting, for 27 years against the Monarchs. And in the sequel, he effortlessly blocked and sliced through the Iterim, these outer gods who literally throw galaxies as weapons. His endurance is just on a completely different level.
Moving on to speed versus teleportation. Physical speed against spatial hacks. When it comes to speed, Goku reacts multiple times faster than light, but Jinwoo, he uses teleportation and shadow movement to completely surprise his opponents, basically throwing the laws of physics out the window.
If we look at fandom calculations, Goku's reaction time is absolutely insane. Even as a kid, he was dodging attacks moving at 2.25 times the speed of light. Modern Dragon Ball Super Goku? Thousands of times faster. But look at Jinwoo's side. His commander, Baru, crossed the infinite universe just to reach Earth. Since Jinwoo is vastly superior to Baru, his speed is basically considered massively faster than light, or even infinite.
But here's the thing. Physical speed might not even matter here. Jinwoo has Shadow Exchange. If he has even a single Shadow Soldier planted somewhere, he can instantly swap places with them. Zero travel time. So against Goku's lightning-fast strikes, Jinwoo could just endlessly teleport, turning the entire battlefield into his own personal chessboard.
Next up, army versus destructive power. Numbers against massive area of effect.
Take a really close look at this number. Over 10 million. That is the size of Jinwoo's endgame Shadow Army. And these aren't just foot soldiers. We're talking about commander-grade monsters like Igris and Baru, who have planetary-level strength themselves. Oh, and the biggest twist? As long as Jinwoo has mana, which, remember, is infinite, these soldiers instantly regenerate. So Goku would literally be fighting a self-healing ocean of monsters.
Now, Jinwoo has millions of Shadow Soldiers, but Goku has raw destructive power and Ultra Instinct. In this state, Goku could effortlessly weave through millions of soldiers and drop massive area of effect ki blasts. Plus, his lifelong training in ki sensing would help him track Jinwoo's exact mana signature through all that chaos, allowing him to pinpoint Jinwoo and land a lethal Kamehameha right to the chest.
So Goku lands the fatal blow, right? Well, not exactly. We have to talk about Jinwoo's hacks abilities. Jinwoo wasn't just a guy. He is the literal avatar of death. If his physical body is destroyed, he can just say arise and revive himself. Plus, he can use his bloodlust skill to cut his enemy's stats in half. Since Ultra Instinct has a strict time limit and completely drains Goku's stamina, Jinwoo could just play the waiting game like the immortal god he is until Goku burns out.
The Ragnarok twist. How sequel power scaling changes everything.
Okay, I know Dragon Ball fans might be typing furiously right now, and honestly, you have a totally valid point, because this entire debate hinges on which Sung Jinwoo we're talking about. On the left, we have standard solo leveling Jinwoo.
incredibly strong, but arguably a tier below Goku's multiversal feats. But on the right, that's the light novel Ragnarok Jinwoo, and he is a completely different beast.
In Ragnarok, Jinwoo has spent years in dimensional rifts fighting the Ichirim, the literal creators of the multiverse. His army has grown from 10 million to billions. He has conceptual control over death and existence. He can erase souls, alter destiny, and manipulate reality itself inside his domain. He's effectively an omnipotent, cosmic entity at this point.
So who wins the battle? Let's finally settle this debate.
If you look at the community forums, the fandom is wildly divided. On one hand, people argue that without plot armor, Goku loses to Krillin, let alone Jinwoo. On the other hand, Dragon Ball loyalists insist Goku's raw speed and power would vaporize Jinwoo before he even blinks. So, based on an objective source analysis, here's our two-part verdict.
If we're just talking about Dragon Ball Super Goku versus standard solo leveling Jinwoo, most fans and analysts agree that Goku takes the win comfortably. Goku's raw, universe-shaking power and combat speed would shatter Jinwoo's standard defenses. Ultra Instinct would let him completely bypass the Shadow Army and disintegrate Jinwoo.
But the debate is still raging when it comes to Ragnarok Jinwoo. If we put Goku up against the Ragnarok version, the tables completely turn. Jinwoo's absolute immortality and conceptual reality control mean Goku simply can't deal permanent damage. Goku's stamina limits in his god forms would be his ultimate downfall, allowing Jinwoo's infinite hacks, zero fatigue, and endless revivals to secure a shocking underdog victory.
That's the fun of power scaling, right? It all comes down to the lore and the rules. So now it's your turn. Who do you think wins? Goku or Jinwoo? Drop a comment and tell us your final verdict. And we'll see you next time for another source breakdown.